Yay. And it's running. Good. I'm Sean. This is 243, yes?
Yes.
Yes, good. I recognize about 10% of you. That's fantastic. The other 90% will learn as we go. I've got 3 of you already. That's good. I'll have to repeat it a few more times. Jenny, Kate, and Nita. There we go. Good. Kate's here already. So, 243, Stat 1. How many of you guys are planning on taking the second stat course, 244? Okay, about a third, maybe half of you. Are you planning on taking it next term?
Yes.
Okay, same hands up, same hands up. Okay, I'm going to keep asking that as the term goes on because it helps us plan sections to make sure we have enough sections available for you guys. And I try best I can to keep them in line with this time. So like I have 2 243s right now. They're both at 10:15. One's Monday, Wednesday, and one's Tuesday, Thursday. Can we open that door or is it just perma-locked? I'm really glad that YouTube heard me ask that question. There we go, perfect. What was I just saying? Oh yeah, I'll try to keep the schedule so that the 244s are at 10:15 as well, so that way your guys' schedules can stay pretty much the same. I know it won't work for everybody, but I'm shooting for an average. So, not that you guys are average. The average schedule. I'm gonna stop talking about that now. So yeah, 243. My goal today is to get you through the syllabus of the course, and then to kind of stir the pot statistically, although we just did it pretty well with that little very nice COCC example. It was fantastic. We'll stir it some more. I got some other things I've collected over the years, and even as recently as last year. It's amazing how this course kind of comes at you every day of your life without realizing it. Yesterday, master swimming class, once again. Tomas says do 200 butterfly, 90% effort. And I'm like, I gotta know what 90% effort is. Is it on average? Is it 90% in the beginning and I taper off? For me, with butterfly, it's more like 10% effort and trying to drown. But it's amazing how, when we're in that lane together, how we have to come to some kind of a commonality about what that means, what a 90% interpretation means. And that's, a lot of that is crunching data, and keeping track of data as you go 25, 25, 25, 25, vomit, 25, 25, and rolling with it. And that's a lot of what happens in this course. A lot of what happens in this course. I use Total Fit a couple times. Works out well. Works out really well. So anyway, let's go through the syllabus. Here's the web address for it in case you'll need it later. It's cocc.edu/Srule. I'll fire it up here. Follow along. I don't do a printed syllabus because I don't think it makes sense. Most of what you're going to be downloading from is going to be online anyway. Anybody who had me in 105 or other class before can pretty much take a nap for 45 minutes because the syllabus hasn't changed much. I mean, you might want to chime in every once in a while and fill in. If I forget to say something about like an assessment or a quiz or a project, just chime in and let people know, like, hey, I used to do this and this helped. That's great. Feel free to jump in and say that. So here's the main page. You got all my contact information up here. My office is directly upstairs, which is super convenient. What is not convenient, probably for you guys, is this. My office hours are only on Mondays and Wednesdays. That's terrible for Tuesday and Thursday classes. I apologize. But due to a class that I take on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and due to my son's swim lessons and getting from kindergarten, that pretty much eats up the entire day. So I have to put all my office hours on Monday and Wednesday, which is not, it's terrible if you like coming to office hours. It's not terrible when you realize that there are a slew of other communication options besides office hours. I would say 10% of the questions I answer from students are actually in my office, sitting down, talking to them. The other 90% of questions are answered how? In class, very often in class. We think about that factor. Yes, in class for sure. We get a lot of questions answered in class. Email is what I was thinking of. It's amazing what you can answer via email in this class. This is not a math class. I know it's got an MTH prefix. That's just because COCC hasn't changed it yet. It's interesting. Anybody studying business? A couple, 5, looks like about 5 of you. MTH 243, now OSU is referencing it as ST 201 at OSU Valley. OSU the Valley. I think 244 is ST 202. There might be a class called Math 245 now that exists. And I bring this up not to confuse you. It confuses the hell out of me. I'm not trying to confuse you guys, but this is definitely not a math class. Whatever class you took last, with the exception of 105, because 105 I tried to weed the math out of that too. But even in 105, you did more math in that class than you will do in this class. How many took 111 last term? My God. You did 150%, 200%. 1,000% more math in that class than you will do in this class. There is hardly any mathematics in this class. Candida, go ahead.
If we haven't had it in a while, we'll be all right.
Mathematics? Yes. Yes. There's hardly, if you can add and subtract, multiply and divide and convert a percentage to something meaningful in your mind, you're set mathematically for right now. This class is not about number crunching. We use technology for that. It's not about memorization of formulas. We put them on assessments for that. It's about critical thinking. It's about being able to answer the types of questions I just asked you about that survey. What are they going to do with this data? And what should they do? What shouldn't they do, maybe? What are some concerns? It's all about exploring the gray area between 1 and 0. In math classes for years and years, you've been used to, here's a quadratic factory. Set it equal to 0, find the intercepts. And that's wonderful stuff. It really is, for what it needs to be done for. You know, if you need to build a bridge, you need to factor that quadratic, or at least find the zeros and figure out when that extra car is going to make it, the marginal car is going to make it collapse. You need to know that. You need to build an elevator safely, okay? But for statistics, you need to understand whether or not the way numbers were crunched was done properly. And the problem is you might never know the optimal way to do it. So very often it's about raising more questions and refining results. So you'll constantly hear me, what do you think? Why? Huh? Do you think? Maybe we'll look at it a different way. And as such, sometimes we'll have multiple answers for questions. You'll hear about my take-home exams in a little bit. The take-home portions of the exams, I've often had 30 different responses to a question, all of which are awesome, because you guys are thinking about the questions to ask. I think traditional algebra-based classes serve as a disservice sometimes, because they make you guys think there's always a right answer, when you all know there isn't. You ever try to move a couch through a door? Right? How often do you bust out the Pythagorean theorem? Wait a minute! Here's the friggin' hypotenuse. No, you got the damn thing up, you're wiggling it side to side, you got your friend's bending his back over here. Ah, my football injury! And eventually you get the thing through the door, through wiggling and ishing and upping and downing, and then it gets through the door. You didn't come to one right answer. You changed the results, you got data, you reacted to them, and you got the couch stuck in the kind of the chainsaw, whatever. The fact of the matter is you worked through the solution. And I'm way more interested in general than in the process than the solution. Way. And we'll talk more about that as we go through that. I don't want to freak anybody out. But yeah, very little math in here. Very little math. Lots of critical thinking, lots of logic, whole lot of thinking, and a bunch of writing. So you'll get good at writing, good at critical thinking if you're not already. So anyway, contact, office hours, if you can use them, please feel free to use them. I mean, if you can't, you can always email me or call. Try not to use the fax machine. I've heard that's the wrong number, and even if it is the right number, I never seem to get faxes anyway. And in this day and age, just take a picture with your phone and email it to me. They work great. My band got it offered to have one of our songs licensed on an MTV show. And we're like, we can't fax it to you, we can't fax it. The dude was like, you don't fax. You take a picture with your cell phone and email it. They're like, really? And so, like, MTV's like, well, it's MTV, so take it with a grain of salt. But like, yeah, you take a picture, it's a legal document. Sign it, take a picture, send it off. So you do that too. Works great. Anyway, here's your information. We got Math 105, 243, 244. You can ignore everything except this right in the middle, obviously. And this is you guys. Here's where we are. That's what we're numbered. There's our times. Course information, let's put that down so when you go later to look at the syllabus, you can find everything. Course information. Okay, that's what we're going to spend quite a bit of time today exploring, is this guy right here. So here we are, prop stat 1. This looks just like the 105 syllabus from last term. It looks just like all my syllabi. I try to keep them looking pretty consistent for the most part. It is renamed to prop stat 1. It didn't used to be called that. It's much more logical now. How many of you were drawn immediately to the big yellow rectangle on the left-hand side when we flick to the page? I do that intentionally for the same reason McDonald's uses red and yellow in their signs, because it gets your attention. Those muted colors, like this gray in the back, kind of just fades in. Put something yellow, bright red, just like it. Just like it. So there you've got contrast and bright. That's what I want you to look at, because in this class, by and large, you'll be going to that page most of the time, with a slight second to this page. Maybe. We'll come back to that too. So let's explore the schedule page. So course information. We'll take a look at the schedule page. This, by and large, is where you'll spend most of your time on this syllabus, of the time you'll be spending on the syllabus. I'm not trying to make it sound like you're being here like 24/7, but when you're on the page, that's where you'll be. It's a little vomit-inducing at first. Lots of reds and yellows. And a lot to I'm ADD. This drives me insane because I'm trying to focus on everything at once. And if anybody has a better idea of how to present this information, I'd love to send me an email and share it with me. Like it would be better, for example, if you had everything in one big calendar. I'll just tell you right now, it won't. I tried that. It's way too cluttered by doing it that way. So if you have an idea about how to have all 4 of my classes up in a grid like this or some kind of a view like this, so I can see the entire term, I'd love to hear it. I would. So please, I've changed it in the past and the students let me change it back. They kind of like this. I mean, it's kind of vomit-inducing. There's the entire term, friends. I know, right? A little bit of blue mixed in there just to kind of calm you down a little bit, but that's the entire term.
Not blue on
So, say that again?
Not blue on red.
Not blue on red, it's like purple. So let's walk through, just, now realize you can also ignore 75% of what's on here because it's got all 4 of my classes across here. This is week 1. There's your dates. We're at, what, October? Happy October. Happy October. There we go. Double month. Very nice. The 8th month, October, therefore 10th month. Never understood that one. October, November, December. That's 8, 9, 10. Why is it 10, 11, 12? Why is that?
They added the month earlier.
They added January, February? So March, April, May. June, July, and August are the Roman emperors. I know that. March, April, May.
March.
I could Google this, but I want to think about it. March is from Mars?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What's April for?
Apollo.
Okay, good. And May would be Mercury. Yeah, I don't know how to get this up now. Thanks for Brian May of Queen. Great wonderful guitar player. I don't know how to make this. I can use Google, but I would just think about it out loud. So anyway, here we are. There's the dates. What I try to do is I have every week header in bright yellow. So week 2 is also bright header, bright yellow is week 3, and so forth and so on. You can get to all these through the top click bars, week 1, week 2, week 3. I used to have it so that they were kind of file foldered. So you click on a tab and it would open just that week, but students like to see the entire term in front of them. And you'll see why momentarily. I agree with them. I think it's a good idea. I try to put administrative stuff in the red area under it. So right now I've got the library tutoring schedule, which is a fantastic option if you can't get to see me and you can't work with each other. You know, if you can get down a library tutoring schedule. Where is the tutoring center for statistics? In the library where? Downstairs. And I bring that up, it says here's the library tutoring, I have to change that actually, because now they actually tutor all over campus. Science apparently tutors up in the science building, GIS tutors in Ponderosa. There's an annex, tutoring annex on the first floor of the library now, so they're all over the place. So stat still tutors in the basement. And just so you know, there is a difference between stat tutoring and math tutoring. Generally, you don't want to go to a math tutor for stat help. I've been told by a number of them they don't care for helping stat students because it's different enough. Like I said before, there's not a whole lot of math involved. It's mostly critical thinking and writing, and a math tutor generally wants to do math. They don't want to write, and they critically think in their own way. They don't want to critically think in the way of statistics. So just so you know, generally you want to shoot for the 243 tutors, which are right here. And you got plenty, I mean, this is great, 8 to 9, 8 to 9, 8 to 9, 8 to 9. No Friday hours, but you've got tons of hours even on the weekends. So, just so you know, it's available. I'm not sure who is tutoring yet. I know there's Kelly, she used to tell us, but I don't think she's telling us anymore. She's not, but you can email her if you're interested. Cool, and all your subjects. I mean, chemistry, GIS, whatever you need. It's all right here. All I did was I clicked, let me back up here. I clicked on library tutoring schedule. And then I hit Bend. You can also hit Madras, Bryanville, or Redmond for those locations and times too. Madras wasn't updated. No, they're still updated, Madras. Redmond was up yesterday. There's Redmond. The only downside for stat is you're only getting stat tutoring here in Bend. There's just not enough stat tutors available in the outlying areas yet. But that's okay, because we have email addresses and we can get to it that way. So if you need somebody to chit chat with, there's your link. Cool? Cool so far? All right, here was you yesterday, not here, yay, that's Monday. This is your column. So you ignore 105, you ignore 243 Monday, Wednesday, and you ignore 244, because don't worry about that till next term. So we're gonna scroll down here, we're up to Tuesday. Now notice, this is what we're in the middle of doing right now. We're discussing online information. It will be for like an hour or so. We're gonna find that homework sheet in a minute, maybe you already did. We're going to do this activity when we're done, and we're going to talk about the stat of the day blog. That's pretty much the extent of what we're going to be doing today. If you keep scrolling down, there's Wednesday. Wednesday, you're off. You don't have to come here again. And then Thursday, it says quiz due. Holy crap, there's a quiz already. It's the first week of class. We'll come back to that. Friday, you're off. Here's next Monday, you're off again. There's Tuesday, nothing in the blank. There's Wednesday, off. There's Thursday with a quiz due. This guy's a slave driver. Next Tuesday, blank. Next Thursday, a quiz due and a project. Son of a... next Tuesday after that, blank. Why are there so many blanks? Because we're not doing anything. Bing! Thank you for playing. No. Thank you. Appreciate that. Why are there blanks? Max?
There's nothing due.
That's true, actually. How do you know when something's due? It's good. Well, it says it's due and it's in red. I try to use the red to kind of get your attention. There are things due when the background is red. So when you see a background that's red in the calendar, something's due, whether it's a quiz, an exam, or a project. Nice. Very, very nice. How about the ones that aren't red, though? Do you just not come in that day? If so, why didn't I put off? Let me ask you a related question. You ever go into a class on the first day where they hand you a syllabus, and you've got every day accounted for the entire term? Day 1, we do this. Day 2, we do this. Day 3, we do this. Day 4, we do this. Right. What happens inevitably? One of 2 or 3 things. Give me one thing that can possibly happen. You don't follow the schedule. When you're in bed, it could snow. It probably will in like 10 minutes because we're in bed, right? If it snows, we lose a class, then we have to adjust the entire schedule and work around that, right? So there's one thing that can happen. Or worse. Worse. Say that again?
People don't show up because they just read stuff.
Oh, that's good. Tell me names too. This is JC and Jamie. Kate, Jamie, JC, Candida. It's not your name. Tell me. Jenny. See, it was the fifth one. Put me over the edge. They cannot. I didn't even think about that one. They just stopped showing up, and that's a risk I run too with putting the YouTube videos up. I mean, I run that risk of somebody not showing up at all, although it hasn't happened historically, and historically being 1 year of doing it. So I'm not super concerned about that. What else? Something a worst case scenario, Max. They get behind. You can get behind.
Well, I completely forgot why you don't like to put it up because you don't know where you're going to be.
Right. So another option people sometimes do is just rush to get to a certain point. I don't like doing that. I also don't like redoing a schedule. So here's what we're going to do. Other than this first day, which we're in the middle of right now, I'm not exactly sure what we're going to get to on Thursday. I know where we're going to start. Where we're going to start, see this homework sheet right here? This is a list of all the topics for 243. There they are, right there. 9 topics. That's the entire course, 9 topics of 243. We're going to start into that one on Thursday. It'll be a piggyback off of what we do today. Are we going to finish that Thursday? I think, historically, we usually do. If we do, we do. And I'll put that in the schedule. If we don't, we don't. And I put that in the schedule. If we don't, we continue that on the next day. If we do, we have homework for it due the next day. So in this way, the schedule builds itself as we build it together. Does that kind of make sense? So by the end of the term, all of this stuff is going to be in the schedule because I stripped down the course to the point where it's got the necessary stuff and nothing else, and it all gets done. But I can't say, I mean, there's 9 topics in 10 weeks. That means I get 1.1111111 weeks per topic. It's not like that. Not every one of these things takes the same amount of time as another. The binomial distribution, for example, tends to take longer than the normal distribution. Outliers is very, 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 very short. Intro to Providence Stat, usually an hour and a half, usually, on average. So I have an idea where I'm going to be week 5, but I can't say for certain because there's too many variables. So the schedule will build itself with you guys. Does that make sense? That's why they're blank. They won't be blank long. I promise, Kate. We'll fill them in. Linda. No, Jenny. I knew I had 5 letters. I went with Linda. Wrong. Cool. So this will also have something in it. There is a quiz due, yes. And we'll talk about that quiz soon. But that'll also have stuff linked into it as well. Okay, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so the quizzes that are due, is it the quiz of what we learned in that class?
Hold that thought.
Okay.
Hold that thought. We're going to get into all that stuff as we go through today. That's part of what the next 15, 20 minutes is all about. Okay? And we're going to get into what all these red things are. Quizzes and projects and exams. We're going to explain all that as we go. But everybody can kind of just see where things are. These will be filled out. Almost every single day will be filled out with more stuff. Very rarely you're going to come in and have just this. Like even the in-class portion of the exam doesn't take the entire class. It takes, an hour or so of it. But we'll do something else that day as well. And we'll talk about why in a minute when we get to the assessment part. So schedule makes ish sense? Yeah? You'll get very, very used to it. Please, former students, chime in and let me know if I'm steering people the wrong way. All right, let's back out of here. Real quick, I want to go to the materials page. Some of you may have gone to the bookstore and tried to buy the book for the course. That's awesome, but there is no book for the, well, there's no book for the course in the bookstore because it's right there. It's a free open source textbook. You can download the whole thing right here. I think it's like 700 pages long, so you might want to just save it to your computer and just keep it on there. It's called Collaborative Statistics. Two awesome ladies down in California have been putting it together for a few years. They keep updating it. I won't update it. Now that this is the copy, we're going to leave this to be the copy. I'm only going to update it at the end of each term. So if you want to download this bad boy right now and hang on to it, that's fantastic. There are a ton of resources available with it, only a smattering of which I've explored. I'm going to treat it as a traditional textbook, other than the fact that it's not really a book. It's a PDF document that exists online. But it's got chapters and sections, just like everything else. You know, you got chapter 1, chapter 2, and so forth and so on. There's chapter 9. We're not going to get into that in 243. That's 244. But you got 710 pages. See it right there. So I think the best thing you need to do is just right-click on that bad boy and save it. Put it in your My Documents folder, and just keep it handy. I'm going to use the same book in 244. Madonna already uses it, so if you take her for 244, she'll use that book as well. So you're ready to go. It's called text.pdf. You might want to call it something a little bit more specific than that. Text.pdf. But just hang on to it. I think it's like 4 megs big. It's not very big. It's like a song in MP3. So cool. Put it on a thumb drive. Carry it around with you. It's free. The only thing you can't do with it, I guess, is like print it and sell it to people, but I don't know why you guys do that anyway. Who the hell would buy it, right? I'm giving it to you. I'm going to be adding to it. I want to talk more about that. I mentioned office hours being very, very tight. Friday, I'm going to be recording YouTube videos and linking those into problems and stuff in the textbook. So there'll be certain like hot links out of the textbook to YouTube videos, kind of like Khan Academy-esque. I've been doing it for a few years now, and watching how Khan Academy took off, I'm like, I need to do more of this. So, for example, when we get to the standard normal distribution and we talk about, you know, why the standard deviation of the standard normal is 1, you might sit there in class and go, I don't buy that. And I don't want to do a proof for you in class because it would take like 45 minutes to an hour to write it all out, but I can demonstrate for you using an animation in 5 minutes on a video. So I'll do that. I'll make the video, link it out to the textbook. If you're interested, you can go back and watch it. So it's just another set of resources for you guys. Like these too. I mean, we'll still have the GoPro or whatever camera I'm using running and recording classes, but we'll also have YouTube links out. And this has worked pretty well in the past. My scatter plot video just got its 100,000th hit, which I was totally stoked about. I keep getting emails from people like in France saying, you know, thanks for the videos. I'm like, and they say it in French, and I have to get friends to translate. And it's awesome. It's totally awesome. So I'm going to keep doing that. Keep making the YouTube little offshoot videos. But that's why I'm open source. You've heard of, maybe you haven't heard of open source. The idea of open source textbooks is that the source code is open for anybody. It's like a Wikipedia page, essentially. But I'm only letting me and Barbara and Susan edit this, because with Wikipedia there can be errors in there. I don't want you guys having to deal with, go find the error on page 86. I don't want you to deal with that. I want it to be good for you. So, Patrick, please.
I missed where the link shows up,
With the link for
whatever you're doing. So
the YouTubes, you'll see them. Let me show you. So on this homework page, on this homework page that was up here, they don't exist yet because I haven't linked them yet, but I will on Friday. I'll start. So you click on problem statistics. Okay, and we'll go back into this homework page again. You've got these problems that I suggested that you do. If I make a video for those problems, I'll put a little link next to them. I'll put like solution and put it in parentheses and hyperlink it there. So I won't edit the actual document, the actual textbook, because now that I've told you guys about it, I want you to download it and keep it, use it in good health. So I don't want to change that now. I'll change it after the term's over. But for right now, I'll just link them into this homework page. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Good. And we'll come back to this homework page again. I'll have to keep coming back to this because I want to make sure you guys can find it and be able to use it. Other questions? That was a good one, Patrick. Thank you. So far? Okay. Anything else on that materials page? Open source book, we got that. You guys either have 105 or 111. I will have you using Excel occasionally in this class. Not in class, but on the out of class assessment parts of some of the projects and some of the out of class exams. I assume you've never used it before in your life. Some of you may have. Some of you may have. You may use it a lot. But I'm making the assumption you never have. And I think that's fair, because nowhere on the prereq for this course does it say you have to have CIS 120 or CIS 131, or even be able to use a spreadsheet. However, I think it's terrible to send somebody out of a statistics course without ever using a spreadsheet. So therefore, I'll make you use it, at least a little bit. So I'm going to make the assumption you've never used it before. We'll make tutorial videos to guide you through things, and we'll have lots and lots of screenshots and documents to guide you through as well. So there we go. We're using a little bit of Excel, but as you can see from the room we're in, we don't have Excel in this room. So we're going to have to use our, I think so, you guys just took 111. I'm assuming you have your TI-83s or your TI-84s or something like it. We'll use those in class, because it's just easier to have those out and about. You guys still have them from your last class? Tucked away somewhere, maybe-ish, hopefully. If you don't, there are options. You can install, if you have a PC laptop, not a Mac, unfortunately, but a PC laptop, there actually is an emulator that you can put on your laptop that creates a little TI-83 right on your machine. Actually, I just found a second one a couple days ago. Mac, I'm sure, has something too. I just don't know about it. Smartphones now, I'm a little cautious about smartphones. This was a link that was good until about a week ago. This guy named Andy created a TI-83 app that basically looked like a TI-83. You opened it up, it popped open, and it's free. And as you might imagine, Texas Instruments was not too happy about that. So they sued him, well, they were threatened to sue him, and he had to pull it down. So the link is still there, I think. Let's just take a look. Yeah, the Andy 83, that's what it's called. Yep, free, 5 stars. The trick with it now is you have to put in your, somewhere in here, somewhere in here they mention it. You have to put in, see, he says, great app, now I have a backup for my 84. You have to put in, there's a code on your machine that's unique to your machine, and you have to put that code into the app. So it knows you're not using just the app, you actually have the physical machine. So that's what TI did to Andy. So, sorry Andy. So anyway, we are going to be using graphing calculators in class. I've written programs for them, I want to share them with you. They make things very, very easy. They take more mathematics away from us and let us just focus on the data and the data collection and the data analysis. So out of class, we'll use Excel quite a bit, but in class, we'll use the 80s, 83s, 84s. If you have other ones, we can make that work too. If you need to get one, I'd say check Craigslist. I'd say take your roommates. Take your roommates when they're not looking. See if, in all seriousness, see if you can swap out with somebody else who's not taking math this term. Just borrow it. You don't have to buy one. I mean, you may have to buy one, but if you can help not buying one, that's huge. That's absolutely huge. So I used to have extras. I'd lend them out, and every once in a while they come back. Usually they don't. So I have one left, and I can't find that one out anymore, unfortunately. So cool so far as materials go.
Yeah.
Please, Candida.
That calculator and I don't get along very well. Are you good with that?
Well, yeah.
Okay, good.
Because
That
you're
was the
thinking,
limit for taking this class.
I understand. You're thinking 111-ish.
I push buttons in there and I'm going, where in the hell did that come
Well,
from?
you're going to push different buttons in here.
Okay.
And the thing is you're not going to be worried. The thing about 111 that freaks so many people out is the graphical look in 111 was so important and so limited, it would drive people insane.
Yeah.
A lot of times, half the time what we do in here is not graphical, it's number crunching along with graphical. And we'll do quite a bit of all of that as we go through the course. So not to worry, my friend.
Okay.
Trust me. All right, let's get into the assessments. We'll take this. I like to have you guys break after about 45 minutes because right about then you start getting this glaze over you, and it's time to kick you out of class for 5 minutes to get some air and then come back. But let's at least get going on part of the assessments that we do in this class. So as we looked at the schedule page, you probably saw quiz due, quiz due, quiz due, quiz due. And then occasionally there was a project that popped in there, and then every once in a while there was an exam. So let's talk about each of those pieces. We'll talk about the quizzes now. We'll do projects and exams after the break. Okay, so quizzes. Before we talk about quizzes, let's talk about homework. Let's say we have let's say it's today, even though it won't be. Let's just pretend today. We decided to do and finish the topic Intro to Problem Statistics. I say finish. That's not really true. We're going to finish it. We're going to intro that intro and get some ideas across. And then I get to the point where I'm like, okay, these guys get it. It's time for them to go out into the world and try some problems and try to see how this stuff actually relates to their worlds. So I will send you home with the instructions. get into the intro to Prob and Stat homework and do the problems and bring back questions to the next class. So you'll get into here and you'll say, oh, look, there's pages 13 through 18, blah, blah, that's the suggested reading. Read it if you want to. I just suggest it, and you don't have to read it. I'm going to test you on it. Here are the problems in the textbook. On pages 36 to 42, we've got some problems here. This looks like a lot. Very much of this is simply true, false, it's this or it's this. A lot of quick problems. And then down here, you'll see this in most of my homework pages. I've got these things I call E questions. E1, E2, E3, okay? That's about it, I think. I think that's it for... The E stands for extra, and basically what it is, it's me finding stuff in the world that I'm like, that should be in a textbook. But I haven't quite gotten around to putting it in a textbook yet, because I'm still in the process. So here's one. This is a fun one. It tracks 2000 through 2006 in student loan debt. And you can see it's getting larger. And you can see by the graphic they use balloons. My problem is that they use balloons. See, the problem with this display is, yes, the money is getting bigger, but they have skewed the largeness of the number in the way they've shown it. Your job is to think about why and write down how.
Okay.
If you get stuck, you scroll down to the bottom and there's answers. That's why I put them down there. So you can go down there and you can kind of get it and see what my logic is. You may have a different answer. Good for you. Good for you. Bring it to class. Let's talk about that too. I'd love to hear it. Like I say, it's loads of grade between 1 and 0 in this class. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Now, just so you know, in the textbook proper, so I give you all these problems on page 36 through 42. Let's back out of here for a sec and go back to the textbook. Okay? And let's go to page 36. That's 26, so I guess I have to go to 46 and 36. There we go. So you'll notice here's some homeworks. And very often the homeworks have solutions. Solution on page 49. Okay, solution on page 49. Solution on page 49. What I'll do with the YouTube videos on Fridays, whatever problems I assign to you that don't have solutions, I'll make solutions for you. Put the videos up and then hyperlink those off the homework page. So I'll build that as we're going through the course. So each week I'll say, what do we do this week? And I'll go in and put the solutions up. So whatever ones don't have solutions, we'll create some multimedia solutions for you. So that way, every problem I've assigned to you will have some kind of a solution or a help board. This is how I get around not using Blackboard. I don't use Blackboard, FYI. So don't, and you can go look for me in there, but just like, hello. So I don't have any of that instant feedback kind of stuff that Blackboard gives you. So this is the most instant I have, which is not very instant. It's kind of old school, actually. If old school was 1997, but whatever, that's pretty old school. So, for old guys my age anyway. So that's the idea. That's my way of kind of filling in that gap of not having that instant assessment. Some of you guys just came out of like the WebAssign or the Hawk system where you're getting these immediate feed. You cannot have that in a statistics class because Hawks is expecting one correct answer. That often doesn't happen in a statistics class. Or you might be off by 1/10 and that's okay due to rounding, but Hawks is going to mark you wrong and that's infuriating. So I can't have that kind of a system set up for statistics. It doesn't work that way. We're full of ish in this class, as you'll see. So let's back out to here again, to quizzes. So, we've done homework. You've brought your questions to class, the next class. We've gone over the questions, and we're pretty content, and we're ready to move on to the next topic, which is centers and spreads. What do you do with your homework? You keep it. No, you don't turn it in, Jenny. You keep it. This is how it's different too. You keep that homework. You keep it in a note. I would say devote a section of your notebook to your homework. That way you can make notes on it and stuff. I borrow my quiz methodology from my old drum teacher. I've been playing drums for 30 years. I took lessons for like 4 or 5 of those 30. What he used to do was he'd load me up with stuff to practice over the course of the week. You know, play along with Sanitarium by Metallica. Okay, got it. Take it home, play for 3 hours. In the basement for 3 hours. Come back the next week, he'd say he'd fast forward to minute 2:30. Goes double time. Let me hear you go. Play. I play for 5 seconds. Like, good, you got it. He'd assume that if I can do that 5 seconds of that song, I probably practiced enough to get the entire song. He'd randomly pick little pieces of what he assigned me. And if I could do those random pieces, chances are I didn't just study those random pieces, I did the whole shebang. So he didn't have to hear everything, just like I don't have to see everything. I just need to see a little random selection. And what are the random selections going to be? The quizzes. That's the quizzes. The quizzes are the little random selections. Now, do you do those in class? No. You don't do those in class. They're going to be like outside of class. Right